Okay, we are on Deah Siman Samech Aleph Matanos Kahuna. Now, actually, we can take a step back for just 2 minutes. The whole halacha of Matanos Kahuna, as an intro, going backwards. We had this a few weeks ago in Sefer Dvarim in Yoreh Gimel, where it gives the mitzvah. So the Gemara says in Chulin Kufla Medalad, the reason for the mitzvah. So it's to give schar for Pinchas HaKohen, right? The zroa is connected his hand that he lifted up and took the spear to stab. L'chaim is he davened. He gave a tefillah first before he did this. And the keva is because that's where he stabbed the two that were guilty. So that's what the Gemara gives. And it also just reminds us that we have to have tremendous akaras satov for those who are moser nefesh. They're risking their lives for the sake of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or for his nation, or for the saving Klal Yisrael. So they have a akaras satov for all the holy soldiers who are risking their lives for us. The Chizkuni says another reason, to give schar for the Kohanim. Right, we know the Kohanim are always busy in Birkas Kohanim, working in the Beis HaMikdash, teaching us. So they're busy all day, serving the tzibur. So therefore you have Zroa is Keneged, because they do Shechita in the Beis HaMikdash. L'chaim is for their Birkas Kohanim, and the Kevas corresponds to the Bedikas of the animals in the Beis HaMikdash to make sure there's no trefus. Kliyaka are a little similar, but the focus is on just the schar for Birkas Kohanim. So the Zroa is connected, them lifting up their arms for Nesias Kapayim. The L'chaim, actually the verbal bracha, Birkas Kohanim, and the Keva is because through their bracha, Klal Yisrael gets the bracha that they eat well. You know, part of the bracha of Birkas Kohanim is that we should eat and it should satiate us. We shouldn't just eat and still be hungry, and even a little bit will fill us up. The Ramban quotes the Rambam in Moreh Nevuchim, and there he says that because these items are all reshit, they're always first, right? That's always what we want to give first to show kavod. The l'chaim is the beginning of the body, the rosh of the body. The zroa is the rosh of the limbs, and the keva is the rosh of the digestive system. That's where it's, it starts to finally get decomposed and fully decomposed, and then it leads into the intestines. One last thing, sorry for the digression. Aznaim l'Torah. So he says, we learned this, that it's important to give it to a Talmid Chacham, right? Preferably, because it explains that people are no better than animals unless we're osek in Torah. If we're Yoreh Shamayim and osek v'Torah, then we can uplift the food, and by doing so, by taking a portion and giving it to someone who's osek in Torah, then it's kilo hukshar, the entire animal. It elevates the whole purpose of what we're doing. Right? We don't eat just to fill up our stomachs, and we do it to serve a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And he also adds, it's a skula. These three things is a skula for the Baal Behema. Person runs a business, he has animals or farms, whatever he's doing. And it's a skula that the yad, you take the food, you put it in your mouth, that's the l'chaim, and you chew it with your jaws. And you want it to be digested with bracha to make you healthy. And so that's the what we should be thinking about when you want to be Makayim the mitzvah. Okay, we are continuing today with Seif Yud Zayin. Matanos einam nohagos ela b'shor v'seh. It only applies to behemas v'lo b'chayev v'of, but not the nachayas and not birds. V'nohagos b'kilayim haba mi'ez v'rachel. So it does apply midaraisa. You're chayev to do the matanas kohanim, even if it's kilayim, even if it was done be'eser. Right, that's a goat and a sheep. V'chein b'koi. And it's also chayev midaraisa. These are both from drashos and the psukim and the Gemara, that you're chayev, it's a vada, not a suffix, it's gzeres hakasuv, That's the psak of the Rambam, that's the halacha. Because it's a bria bifnei atzma. A koi depends if what you hold it is. Rambam paskins a bria bifnei atzma, so therefore you're chayav. There's an opinion in Rishonim that says it's really just a suffix of a behema of a chaya, such as it's born from a tayish and a tzvi, a tzviya. So therefore, according to that opinion, it would be a suffix. But the halacha is it's vadai, and you have to give the whole thing. Okay. Yoreh, tzvi haba ala eiz v'yalda havlad chayav b'chatzi hamatanas. So here, basically the issue is, it's a suffix if you have to worry about the male, the father. If it's the mother, for sure we have to worry about it. So it goes like this. If the male is the chaya and the female is the behema, daka or gasa, so then we're for sure chayav. But we don't know if we're chayav 100% or 50%, so you have to give half of the matanos. Half the value, or cut it in half. Aval tayish habal etzviya havad pater mina matanos. But if the mother, the female, is the chaya, so it could be that the whole animal is pater. It's a suffix. But then again, we're not dealing with something that's an isser of kedusha. It's just a mammon, and so therefore motzi mechaver ala varaya, and therefore it's 100% pater. Okay. I believe any of these cases that we learn that are pater, there's really zero reason, there's no need to give it, but one is allowed to, and 50-50, you'll be, or whatever it is, you'll be makayim the mitzvah. So, just throw that out there. Yotet, ein nohagos bekodshim velo bebechor. All right? As I think we mentioned, that any animal that gets shechted for a korban, it has its own matnas kahuna, the shok and the chazeh, but not these three. These three, 100% pater, and it goes towards whatever the animal's for. V'lo b'bechor, and also if it's a bechor, the animal, then it's 100% pater from matnas kahuna. The whole bechor goes to the Kohen. We'll learn about that later. Okay, kaf. Bechor kodem okay, this is a drop confusing, but it actually makes a lot of sense. Bechor kodem shabal yada Kohen. Now you have a bechor, the whole animal should go to the Kohen, right? And it comes to the Kohen first. Shenit arev behemot acherot. Now this bechor runs off and mixes with all the other animals. Oh boy. So what do? Chayev litain mehena matanas. You have to give from every animal that you shech, you have to give at least the matanas kahuna. We'll learn about bechor later, but for matanas kahuna, for sure you have to give. Sheyamar Kohen al kol achas ten li matanotea, v'imata omer shu bechor ten li kula. Because the minimum from every individual animal is you have to at least give the matanas kahuna. It's either just those three or the entire animal. So you can get away with just those three. But you have to at least give those three. Aval bechor shenitan l'kohen v'mumo umachro liyisrael. But if you have a bechor that had a mum, and now he sells, and then the Kohen, anyone can use it, you sell it to the Yisrael, v'nit areh behemot acherot. So now anyone can eat it, and it gets but it's pater from the three matanas kahuna. And so it mixes in now with regular animals that you would be chayev in matanas kahuna. So now, all of them would be chayev except one would be pater. So what do? Im rabim shochtim mutam kulam pturim. If basically you have 100 animals, that they would all be chayev, and each one is owned by 100 owners. A different owner owns each animal. 100 animals, 100 owners. And then you get this bechor it's mutter to eat, but it's pater from masnas kahuna. So he runs in there and they all mix together. So then they're all pater. Shekol echad yomar shelihu bechor. Because each one container, mine is the bechor, and it's chulin, so he eats it. It's no problem. That's the din. Ve'im he didn't steal it. He's not chayav to go latzes yidei shamayim. He's allowed to eat it and keep it. V'im echad shochet et kulam, but if there's one owner for all 100, so then obviously ein potrin lo ela echad mehem. So then all of them are chayav, only one of them is pater, and he's keeping all of them for himself. So of course he's going to have to give matnas kahuna on all of them except one of them he can pick for himself and eat the whole thing. Okay, let's go on. I think Kaf Aleph. Matanos nohagos b'chol makom bein ba'aretz bein b'chutz la'aretz. So, it's actually a Mishnah. All the matanos kahuna, this mitzvah applies everywhere, whether you're in Israel or whether you're in chutz la'aretz. Bein b'fnei habayit, perish b'zman shebeit hamikdash kayam. Bein shelo b'fnei habayit, whether the Beis Hamikdash exists or it's not standing. So that would be the Rambam Rif, the preferred Ikar Halacha according to the Shulchan Aruch. V'yeshmi she'omer, but Rashi, Tosfos, and others say she'ena nohagas b'chutz la'aretz, that the halacha is there's no mitzvah to give matanas kahuna when you're in chutz la'aretz. It's actually a minority opinion in the Tanaim. From the Gemara you see that they did give, but the minority opinion, Rabbi Elai, and perhaps that halacha follows them, and that's what Rashi and Tosfos maintains. V'chen nagu, and that is the minhag. So, and therefore that's the halacha. Mikar din 100%. When you're in chutz la'aretz, you don't have to give. But you would see it's obvious from the Shulchan Aruch it's better to give, and even the Mordechai, the Biragra points out that he quotes Rashi, that he says, who holds this pater, v'chol notein tavo ala bracha. So even in chutz la'aretz, it's better to give, but there's certainly no chiyuv to give. And just if someone wants to compare to Chadash, it's not the same. Chadash is more serious, because there it's an Isser Achila, and also it's, even when you look in the later Achronim, it seems to be the halacha is one should be chayav to keep Chadash Yashan in Chutz La'aretz. But, okay, we'll get there when we get there. There is what to rely on perhaps, but this is Lechatchila, Matanos Kahuna, one does not have to give in Chutz La'aretz. Definitely not the same level. Okay, right? It's based on a Hekesh, Reshit Hagez, everyone agrees it's not. Question is it more like Truma? It's in the Gemara. Is it more like Truma or is it more like Reshit Hagez, which we'll get to soon? Let's go on, and we'll get to nowadays slaughterhouses very soon. Kaf Bet, Seif Kaf Bet, Kohanim Peturim Mimatanas. So the halacha is, if the Kohen owns the animal, he's 100% pater. It's a libud and it's in drasha. You might think a Kohen has to give to another Kohen. No. Okay, there's no halacha. It's only, that's a drasha me'ez ha'am, only when an animal belongs to the am. So that leads us to Sif Kaf Gimel. What about Levim? Levim, Kohanim, no, but they might be included in me'ez ha'am, they might not be. So it's a suffix from the Gemara, we don't know. Imhe mechayavim matanas. So since it's a suffix, hilkach paturim. The halacha is your pater from giving. B'zamotzi mechavero ala varaya. V'im natlan hakohen v'im natlan hakohen miyado ein tzarich lahachziram lo. Right. You have a Kohen, right? Not a Levi. Well, now that's fine. I thought I read it as a Levi. Natlan a Kohen miyado. A Kohen took it from a Levi. Ein sarich lachziram lo. So then, right. Basically, if a Kohen takes it, we learned also you don't have to give it back, and so too if you take it from a Levi, you don't have to give it back. Because even if a Levi took it, he only has a right to it 50 by means in suffix. So it's.
But there's no chiyuv on the Levi to give it if the Kohen took it.
The Levi owns it. No? The Levi owns it. Okay. There you go. Thank you. The Levi, anyways, it's all din of a suffix. So if the Levi owns it and the Kohen takes it from him, then the Kohen can keep it because it's a 50-50. It's always a hamotzi mechavero ala varaya. It's probably inappropriate to take it. You already learned it's inappropriate to take it. I'll just, it's actually a bit humorous. We learned that a Kohen is not supposed to grab it. He's not even supposed to ask for it. So I mentioned we're going to have a live Shechita, and already I'm getting from Kohanim, can I take your matnas kahuna? So I'm not sure what to do. Okay, let's, now, half a lechi, you're not allowed to, right? Oh yeah, half a lechi you could, half the zroa, right, not half the zroa. It'll be a sheep, it's not a big animal. So you're right, I give a half a lechi. So I have 3 people I can give it to. I can also give the keva symbolically, not anyone's going to use it. But, all right, I guess we can get 4 kohanim out of it.
You can split
The lechi. Right, the lechaim. Not the keva, right. No, I'm saying one person can get the keva, although the least favorite kohen, but he's not going to really use it. And then the other ones are going to maybe use it. And then, so we got 4 kibudim. Okay. Haga. Yesh cholkim the afilu natlan hakohen motziin miyado. Now the Rama over here says it's a suffix, it's a question. Some argue, and he says that you are allowed that even if a coin took it out from the Levi, you have to give it back. I don't want to get too much involved, but just interesting. The Shach points out it's a little bit different than a Bechor. There, again, when we get to Bechor, we'll learn if you have to machlokas, if you have to give it back or not. We'll get there when we get there. He just pointed out in the words of the Rama by the Bechor, he's quicker to say that you do have to give it back because the initial chazaka is that it's not a Bechor when it's a suffix Bechor. It's not a Bechor, and that's the rove, and it's in the goof of the animal. But here by a Levi, it's more removed and it's just a suffix. Therefore, it's not as clear that if you hold motzin miyado by a Levi, it's not as clear. Anyway, if you want to look into it, that's there's a little comparison there. Okay, we're going to do kaf dalid and then we'll go into modern day slaughterhouses. Kaf dalid. Bamed devarim amurim. Okay, shekoin pater. When did we say a Kohen is pater? Right? Kesheshochet latzma. That's if, just as a side thing, from I think it's drashos, probably it may just be derabanan, but the shochet himself is the one who's also obligated to be responsible to, that may have some ramifications going forward, but the shochet is the one who has to make sure that he gives the matnas kahuna on behalf of the owner. The owner gets to choose which Kohen he gives it to, but the shochet, once he's a shochet, he's taking the responsibility to be a shochet. He has to be responsible to take care of to give the matnas kahuna. Anyways, b'med dvarim, when we said the Kohen is pater, that's when we said the Kohen owns the animal, and the Kohen is going to eat it for himself. Aval im shochet limkor. Im ukovea limkor bebet hamitbachayim chayev litain miyad. So if you set up shop in the slaughterhouse, right? You own the slaughterhouse, whatever, you have a whole, this is what you're doing over here, and you're kavua there. So then you're chayev immediately, the Kohen must give it, even though he owns it and he's a Kohen, he still has to give it to other Kohanim. But that's from the Gemara. You see that beferish in the Gemara. Again, you bring it down to the Rishonim. It might be a din Torah, but it's probably a din derabanan. The Tosfos over there says clearly it's a din derabanan. And let's keep reading. V'im ואם אינו קובע למכור בבית המטבחיים 2 ו3 שבתות, פטור, מכאן ואילך חייב, ומנדין אותו אם לא ייתן. So the first, so if you're not kavua, it's not like this is your place and it's becoming established and you have your signs there, it's all yours, and exactly what's kavua, okay, every situation on its own. But as soon as you become established over here that this is your your slaughterhouse, so then you're chayav the first time. If you're not kavua, then we give you 3 weeks, 3 weeks, really that turns into 3 weeks. Through the first 3 weeks, you do not have to give. You don't have to give it, because here we're holding, and certainly it's only the Rabbanan that you have to give Matanas Kahuna. But etzem, since the owner is a Kohen, he's pater. But midar Rabbanan, once you establish yourself there, or you've been there for 3 weeks, it's as if you're established. We put you in nidui if you don't give. So obviously it's chiyuv and it's important, at least in Eretz Yisrael. That's okay. He cannot give it to himself. He has to give it to others. That's the din. We'll assume it's a din derabanan. It could be issues of maris ayin. That could be the reason. Tosfos says it's a din derabanan, and therefore there only goes there if you're established. But since it's midin Torah, you don't have to. I think one of the reasons they give is we don't want. This is, I think, the Tosfos says we don't want. This is exactly what we don't want. We don't want the slaughterhouses to sell a chelik in their business, 1%, to a Kohen in order to get themselves out of the mitzvah. It's important that there's a mitzvah d'oraisa to give Matanas Kahuna. We learned some valid, important reasons, and we don't want the Jews to finagle out of giving the mitzvah and giving what's right to the Kohanim. They're busy working for the tzibor, they need parnasa, and therefore we don't want that to happen. Okay. So in a nutshell, what's normally done in slaughterhouses, so it depends. I didn't do a survey for all slaughterhouses, so I can't tell you, I can give you the options. So in Chutz La'aretz, so many don't, and I don't know, majority or minority, they do, because you could be Makayim the first Deah. We saw in the Shulchan Aruch that in Chutz La'aretz it applies. Then, another thing that some people could do to be pater is you can sell to a goy. You can make a partnership and sell a portion of the entire animal, or those 3 parts in particular. We'll see that later on, I guess the next day. But as long as the goy owns part of the 3 matanos, then 100% pater. That's one way to get out of it. But selling it to a Kohen will not help you. It might help you on a din deraisa level, but it definitely doesn't help you on a derabanan level. So that won't help. So therefore, if you're in a slaughterhouse in Eretz Yisrael, unless you sold it to a goy, which is not what we want, then you have to give the actual matanas to a goy or the value. And so some do that. As far as I know, Ben David said sometimes what they do is they give money. It could be a loan. I mean, you can pay afterwards, or you can give a loan to the Kohen. And just every time, every day you have you shecht animals, you just take off a little bit from what you owe him. And when you deplete it, then you can, this way you're not every day making transactions. You do it whatever, once a year, whatever, however often they do it. But they're giving it away. They're giving the value away. Now, but they give a small value because they're doing it in kamiyot. It's like the commercial, the raw value of, hundreds or 100 at a time, or whatever the numbers are, and therefore you get a big discount. But lamaisa, it is done nowadays in slaughterhouses, and some yes, some no. And one important thing I just want to mention real quick is when we do the live shechita with Ben David, so we're going to own the sheep. So I'm a Yisrael, and my wife's a Israeli. So therefore, 100% we're chayav. So I'm going to give the opportunity for anyone who wants a chelik in owning the sheep. You can give a small amount, and then you'll own a very small amount, but you'll be Mekayim the mitzvah of giving kahuna. Or you can get actually like a piece, I don't know, half a kilo, whatever it is, and take it home and cook it. However, we are not going to allow a Kohen to buy. That'll ruin it for all of us. We are not going to allow a Levi to buy into it. And can we allow a Yisrael who's married to a Kohenet? So that's a good question. Rabbi Kornfeld said it was a good question, and he's not sure. It's not a problem at all, because be'etzim, if a Jew, Yisrael, any man who makes a partnership, owns something, halachically the wife does not own that at all. It's only owned by the man. And the man be'etzim is 100% chayav. He just doesn't have to go out and give it to anyone, because he just gives it to himself because of his wife. So I don't have an issue with it, but obviously if they own 1% of the l'chaim, so 1% of the l'chaim you can't give. But the other 90%, I don't see a problem. Ben David would rather not deal with having any partnerships whatsoever, because he's like, well, in every percent, there's a percent that belongs. It's like, it's kulo, I don't know. So in order to avoid...
With a person married to a Kohen. Any partnership, you said?
No Kohen or Levi, and we'll call it a Baal of a Kohenet, is going to be allowed to own the sheep, or at least those three parts, which is the whole purpose of getting them to chip in. Well, unless they want to take some of the meat. So then that's okay. Same thing. 100%. A Bas Levi is the exact same thing as a Kohenes. There's no difference. So also, no Baal of a Bas Levi, a Leviah. All right.
That means I can't take part. That's what it means.